things haven't changed in 19 years. Darlington's still the toughest track on the NASCAR circuit. And racing competition still gets in your blood. I don't know what you do for a living, mister, but it ain't half as good as what I do. There's nothing like pushing a car as fast as she'll go, running the corners on the edge of control, drawing a bead on the man in front, looking for your chance to put that man behind you. Only one trouble. You may be fast, but there's 44 of the fastest going against you. 19 years ago, we were proud to run 70 miles an hour. Nowadays, we're moving that quick when we reach the end of the pit road, just before we shift into high gear. Competition done that. The finest car builders, mechanics, technicians, and drivers worked for years to beat each other. That's what racing's all about. You just gotta show everybody you're the best there is. It takes us 3 months to build our cars, and a week to tune for each race. But you might say, it's taken us 19 years to get ready for this Southern 500. There's more to racing than high speed and hard work. Fact is, we don't mind having a little fun now and then. One of the highlights of the week before the race is this party for radio, television, and press personalities. This party is arranged for the racing fraternity by the Falstaff Brewing Corporation. Among the guests are Darrell Derringer on the right and Charlie Glotzbach, both drivers. Leroy Yarborough and Donnie Allison are also here. Darlington's a quiet little town all year, but during race week, you'll see riders and reporters 1,000 miles or more from home enjoying Southern hospitality. When the guests are settled, Falstaff presents a special trophy to Charlie Glotzbach, the fastest qualifier. Barney Wallace, Darlington Raceway president, makes the award. Charlie ran almost 145 miles an hour to win that trophy, setting a new track record to do it. Right there is one of the most sought-after awards in all the sports. Race day. Only 13 different men have ever won a Southern 500. There's 44 fellas like me hoping to win a place alongside him in the history books. Some of us got special reasons. Buddy Baker. He was 12 years old when his daddy won the Southern 500 in 1953. Buddy'd like to prove he's as good a racer as his father. Cale Yarborough was born and raised 8 miles from Darlington. He'd surely like to make a hometown crowd proud of him. He qualified a Mercury at 144.830 miles an hour. Next to Cale in the front row is Charlie Glotzbach's Dodge. He ran exactly the same speed, down to the last hundredth of a second. Behind Cale Yarborough in row 2 is Leroy Yarborough. No kin to Cale, except their style of racing. Flat out. Next to Leroy, Darrell Derringer, who won this race 2 years ago. The only other defending champion is Richard Petty, last year's winner. That spring on his helmet takes the strain off his neck in high-speed turns. Next to Richard is Donnie Allison, driving Ford number 27. Notice how careful we fuss with our safety harness. In row 4, Paul Goldsmith, a smart old veteran. The toughest veteran of them all, Curtis Turner, who won more than 300 races in a career that goes back 20 years. Back in the 8th row, Dave Pearson, winner of the Rebel 400 last spring. An ear infection kept Pearson from qualifying for a better starting position. Then, gentlemen, start your engines. Suddenly you're alone with yourself, your car, and the Darlington Raceway. Charlie Glotzback moves to the outside. That's the privilege of the pole position winner. He's got to be the first to cross the starting line. This is the pace lap, to warm the engines and get the butterflies out of our stomachs before the flying start. Back in 16th starting position, Dave Pearson's number 17 Ford is rolling. He's got some catching up to do. There are 17 Fords, 6 Dodges, 5 Mercurys, 6 Plymouths, 7 Chevys, and 1 Buick. 6 of the front runners broke last year's track record by qualifying at better than 143 miles an hour. Into the first turn. The banking lets 2 cars run side by side at 130. But we don't know what'll happen at 140. The faster you go, the smaller the track seems to be. It's 1 3/8 miles, but as speed goes up, there's less and less room to pass. Up the backstretch, halfway back to the starting line and heading for the third turn. To go fast through the third turn, you gotta drive right up against the guardrail. That rail's got more of our paint than a hardware store. On the front stretch, the fans are as eager as we are. Ready now. Easy. There's the green. Let's race. Cale Yarborough's Mercury beats Charlie Glotzback into the first turn. Richard Petty holds third spot in the Plymouth with Leroy Yarborough's Ford right on his bumper. "44 cars spring out on the backstretch, ready to single file through that third turn as 70,000 fans watch every move. That third turn is only wide enough for 1 car at racing speed. End of lap 1. Cale Yarborough in front. Petty's challenging for position 2. He's got it. It's Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, Charlie Glotzback, Leroy Yarborough pacing the Southern 500 at better than 140 miles an hour. Petty wants to lead. Number 0 pushes George Davis almost a quarter of a mile. Both cars are still running. That's one thing we've learned in 19 years. Build them strong. Cale Yarborough hangs on to the lead, turning laps at 141.5 miles an hour. 35 seconds flat for the 1 3/8 miles. It's not fast enough. Richard Petty challenges. Petty and Leroy Yarborough get past Cale, who was pinched between a race car and the guardrail, while turning left at 140 miles an hour. Things like that make a race driver old before his time, let me tell you. Richard Petty's Plymouth shows Leroy Yarborough the groove through turn 3 and 4. But here comes Leroy. Ford is running in front. Petty may be laying back, studying how Leroy's car is handling. There's a lot more to racing than a heavy foot.